Okay. Okay, in the previous lecture we were discussing on braking efficiency and brake stop distance. For braking efficiency, what is a braking efficiency? Braking efficiency is the ratio of braking force by or braking force to weight of the vehicle. So braking efficiency eta will be given by braking force by weight of the vehicle into 100. And there we mentioned that for 100% practically impossible, then also we can say if a vehicle is 100% or the braking system is 100% efficient, means the braking force should be equal to the weight of the vehicle. So in that case, we may say that the efficiency or braking efficiency is 100%. But for the actual case, in the actual case, there is no such vehicle with 100% efficiency. But for calculation purposes and all for the designing, we consider or assume that the braking efficiency is 100 in certain cases that we will see. And we have defined the coefficient of friction mu as F by N. Because the brake stop distance. Brake stop distance means the distance at which the vehicle or the distance through which the vehicle may move after retarding when a brake is applied, and the distance at which the vehicle stops or becomes stationary. That particular distance is brake stop distance, and here it is the equation for the same. Here we use this Newton's equation, v square equal to u square plus 2as, where v is the final velocity, which is 0 because it is stopping or retarding to 0. Then initial value, initial velocity u, acceleration or retardation a, and s is the distance or displacement. Okay, till this portion we have learned. Now, after that, we have seen various properties also, various properties of friction lining and pad materials. Now, now we will see some relations or expression for expanding internal expanding brakes. We already said there are two types of brake shoes regarding the drum braking system, drum braking system, drum brakes. So while considering the drum brakes, we have came across two types. That is for the first kind, it was like internally expanding, expanding or internal expanding, and the other case was externally contracting. Two types. Internally expanding means the drum is like this, drum will be like this, and the brake shoes will be placed inside that. This will be like this. And what happens is when the pedal is pushed or pressed, this shoes will be moved or expanded from internally expanded towards the outwards or outwards in this direction. That means here it is internally expanding. And for the other case, the drum will be like this, and the shoes will be placed over that like this. And here what happens is the shoe will be contracting towards the internal from the external portion, that is externally contracting. So these are the two types of drum brakes. Now now we can see what are the relations of various forces acting on the brake shoes and the moments created by the brake shoes or the torque generated by each brake shoes. There are two types of brake shoes: primary or leading brake shoe and secondary or trailing brake shoe. So what are all these, and what are the equations regarding that? We can see. So first of all, we can see a figure. This is one of the internal expanding shoe brake. So here you can see two shoes, that is brake shoes. This is one of the shoe and this is other shoe. So one is termed as leading shoe. In this figure, this is the leading shoe and this is the trailing shoe. And how the name came? That means here you can see the direction of motion of the drum. It is in this direction, this particular direction. This is the direction of motion of the drum. That means the vehicle is moving in this particular direction. This is the vehicle and it is moving in this direction. So this is the rotation of the drum. Now when we apply pressure on the pedal, what happens is this will move, or there will be a mechanism. This is the pivoted joint. Here it is a pivoted joint, and the forces or actuating forces are given on this particular surface using any cam mechanism and all. So here you can see this is the one portion, and here it is WT sorry, WTL WL for actuating force in the leading shoe, and this is this is actually WT. That means here by some mechanism using cam or some other mechanism or linkages, a force is given to one of the shoe here and other shoe here. So what happens is, for this particular shoe or brake shoe, the motion will be such that it will expand and move in this particular direction. For a small instant, it may move in this direction, right? That means it is to be more clear, I'll show like this. Okay. Okay. When the actuating forces WT acts on this surface, what happens is this may expand and will be like this. So there will be a motion in this direction. That means this portion is fixed, and so as a whole the system may have a chance to move in this direction. That means this direction is in the same direction of that of the drum. Okay, rotation of the drum. So in that case, that particular shoe is termed as leading shoe or primary shoe. Primary shoe. So primary shoe is that particular shoe which moves in the same direction as that of the brake drum. Next, in this case, we can see this will be deflected in this portion like this. So what happens is it may move in this particular direction. So this will be in the opposite direction of that of the brake drum. So that particular shoe or brake shoe is termed as secondary shoe. Secondary shoe, or it may also called as trailing shoe. So these are the two types of shoes. Okay, two particular shoes. So in now we can see where what are the various forces acting on this internal expanding shoe brakes. First one, here you can see W, L and W, T shown here. That means the suffix T is for trailing, that is trailing, and L for leading, that is primary. So here we are giving an actuating force, the force which is actuated or used for actuating the shoes. So these are the two actuating forces. Actuating forces. Okay, these are the actuating forces for leading and trailing shoes respectively. Next, PL and PT. PL and PT shown here. That means while the shoes are in contact with the drum, here it is the drum, brake drum shown here. This is the brake drum. The brake drum is moving, and while engaging or the shoes are engaging with the brake drum, at the point of contact, what happens is there will be a normal force at the both the portions. Here for the leading shoe it is PL, and for the trailing shoe part it is PT. So these are the normal forces. As we learned in the engineering mechanics, that is surface, body is placed like this, the weight W will be acting, force applied force P, then there will be a normal N, then the friction F will be equal to mu into N, right? As such, here instead of N we are giving PL for leading and PT for the trailing forces. So PL and PT are the normal forces. Now you can see a value K, that is the effective radius, that is from the center to this particular point where the friction is acting, that is K, small k is the effective radius. Effective radius. Then A Here you can see A, that is the radius of the drum from center to the internal portion of the drum, that is small a. Small a is the radius of the drum, radius of drum. So here you are using the notation A, small letter A for radius of the drum. Clear idea. Radius of drum. So later on for expressions for acceleration and all, we use the term F for the acceleration because we are using already A for the radius of the drum. Okay, anyway, so A is the drum radius and mu coefficient of friction. Mu coefficient of friction. Coefficient of friction. Coefficient of friction. So these are the notations here, and you can see an angle that is to the point, the line connecting from the center to the point where it first meets, or the shoe just meet the drum point, and that particular line subtends an angle from the vertical, that is theta, as shown here. This is the angle theta. Here also it is given theta. Now using these we may write some equations by equilibrium, by considering equilibrium. As in engineering mechanics, we are already learned that is sigma fx equal to 0 implies, what is that? The equations, or we can equate the at equilibrium. What happens is the forces in the x direction will be equal to 0. That is sigma fx equal to 0, and also sigma fy equal to 0 means the forces in the y direction will be 0. Also, the moment about any of the point will be equal to 0. That case we can see it is for the previous figure. You can see it means do one thing. Okay. It will be here. Okay. Now, so first of all, you can see the case by case for this leading shoe. First, we can say or take the case of a leading shoe. This one, leading shoe. So for leading shoe, leading shoe, leading shoe, moment sigma m about this point, this particular point, equal to 0. Sigma m equal to 0 implies, sigma m equal to 0 implies the forces. What forces are there? W for we are considering now the case of leading shoe. So this one into the perpendicular distance, then the force or frictional force mu f into pt, which is acting in this direction. Here we are considering the shoes. So compared to the motion of the drum, it will be moving in this particular direction. That is, actually drum is moving in this direction while the shoe is stationary. But we are considering the component shoe, so we may say that this is drum is stationary, and or we assume that drum is stationary and the shoe is moving in the particular direction. So in that case, the friction will be in the opposite direction, and the value will be equal to mu into the normal, that is mu f into pt. And this particular forces, or the forces acting on the shoes, are first one actuating force W L, the normal force P L, mu of into Pt, that is the frictional force. These three forces are acting. So considering the moments of these three forces, we may write W L into M, moment of which is in the clockwise direction, plus this one mu f into PL, mu f into PL into the perpendicular distance k minus n cos theta, that you will get from the geometric construction. You can do it later, which is equal to PL into n sin theta. On rearranging, WL into M will be equal to PL into n sin theta minus mu f into PL into k minus n cos theta. That is, we can take PL common and we can write PL into n sin theta minus mu f into k minus n cos theta. Okay, so from here we can get the relation for PL, that is PL equal to WL into M divided by this full term, that is PL equal to WL into M divided by this particular term, that is n sin theta minus mu f into k minus n cos theta. Okay, that is PL. Now the braking torque. Now the braking torque. Braking torque for this leading shoe, denoted by TL, L for leading torque, equal to, that is braking torque is given by this friction into that particular distance, that is k, from this point, from the center. So it is mu f into k, sorry, mu f into the force mu f into pt, sorry, PL, that is the frictional force, into effective radius k. Now substituting the value of PL, that is we get the relation that is so here for the PL we substitute this value, and so finally we get TL which is equal to WL into M into mu F into K divided by n sin theta minus mu F into K minus n cos theta. Okay, this is the relation for braking torque of the leading shoe which is in equilibrium. Similarly, we can find the braking torque for that one trailing shoe also. We can find it similar fashion. So we can see how it is. That is for trailing shoe. For trailing shoe, for trailing shoes, while considering the moment, the total moment about the pivot point, then here also we are having the forces, whatever forces are acting. Force first one is actuating force WT, which is the actuating force at trailing shoe. Then regarding the motion, we can see that is the drum is moving in this particular direction, and actually the shoe is stationary, but we are considering the motion of or considering the case of the shoe. So we assume that the drum is stationary and this will move in this particular direction. So the friction will be in the opposite direction, which is equal to mu into the normal force PT, that is mu into PT acting in this direction. So the forces acting are first one actuating force WT, this is WT. Then the normal force PT and the frictional force mu F into PT. So the moment created by these are in equilibrium. So we may write the relation as sigma m equal to 0 implies the force into particular distance. As in the earlier case, we can write that is WT into N equal to PT into N sin theta, PT into N sin theta plus mu F into PT into K minus N cos theta. From there, we will get the relation for PT as PT equal to WT into M divided by N sin theta plus mu F into K minus N cos theta. K minus N cos theta. So here also we will get the relation for braking torque. Braking torque T, that is for trailing, torque for trailing, TT as mu f into PT into K. And we while substituting the relation, that is for PT, we will get the final relation as braking torque TT equal to WT into M into mu f into K divided by N sin theta plus mu f into K minus N cos theta. Okay. So we get two relations, that is here for the torque, braking torque for the trailing shoe. For the trailing shoe it is TT equal to WT into M into mu f into K. This is the relation. And for the earlier case, that is for the leading shoe, it was TL, which is equal to the similar manner, but only slight variation, that is WL into M into mu F into K divided by N sin theta minus mu F into that value K minus N cos theta. So there it was minus and here it is plus, and also the other difference is here it is WT and here it is WL. So these are the two torques, braking torques. So braking torque for leading shoe was WL into M into mu of K divided by N sin theta minus mu of into K minus N cos theta. And for the trailing shoe, it was WT into M into mu of K by N sin theta plus mu of into K minus N cos theta. Now, okay. Now, if the actuating forces, if both the actuating forces are same and also the value of theta is 90 degree, that means it is like this. Acting in this direction, that means this line is perpendicular to the vertical. So in that case, we may write W L will be equal to W T, and we give a value that is WA, and also the angle theta equal to 90 degree. So when theta is 90 degree, that means sin theta equal to 1 and cos theta equal to 0. So in that case, we can rewrite the relation for TL and TT, that is TL will be equal to, by substituting these values, we get WA into M into mu f into K divided by N minus mu f into K for leading shoe, and for the trailing shoe, T will be equal to WA into M into mu f K divided by N plus mu f into K. So we get a simple relation like this. Now by seeing this, you can get an idea, that is the value of N is already positive, that is it is a distance, right? the distance from the pivot joint to the center. So n is always positive, mu is always positive, value of k is also positive. So n minus mu k will be always lesser than n plus mu k, and the numerators are same. So we can say that TL will be greater than that of TT. That is, if the numerator is decreasing, then automatically the value will be increasing, right? So we can say TL greater than TT, or the braking torque for the leading shoe will be greater than braking shoe torque for trailing shoes. And the total braking torque we can represent as T, which will be equal to TL plus TT. This is the total braking torque. Total braking torque. Okay, this is the total braking torque. So by this, I think we can conclude.